Hi guys, today we're going to talk about subordinate clauses. And the example that we have here is a woman who wants to eat a cake because she's hungry. So let's take a look at the different clauses that we can put together to create a subordinate clause. So basically a subordinate clause is an extra clause that gives you information about where, when, how, or why something happens. And it always goes together with a main clause. So in our example, the main clause is going to be Lara isst ein Stück Kuchen, which means Lara eats a piece of cake. And then the subordinate clause is going to explain the reason, and that is Sie hat Hunger, which means she is hungry. Now, two little vocabulary entries that you can see on the right side here. In German, when you want to say a piece of something, you don't need the preposition, any preposition like of. You can just say ein Stück something, a piece, cake, literally. And then also Hunger haben, to be hungry. Literally, the German expression is to have hunger, which doesn't make any sense in English, where we use the adjective hungry to explain that we're hungry. But in German, you say that you have hunger, and the German for that is Hunger haben. So sie hat Hunger means she is hungry. So one more thing that's important here is the conjugation for essen, which is to eat. So I have put the conjugation table here for the present tense. This is an irregular verb, meaning that it doesn't behave the way we would expect it to. Ich esse is what we would expect with essen, because the first person always gets the E at the end. But then du and er, sie, es have an irregular form, which is ist. And then it goes back to what we would expect. Essen, est, essen. So the irregularities, as always with irregular verbs, are only in the second and the third person in singular, which is du and er, sie, es, you and he, she, it. So, of course, if we want to refer to Lara, we would say sie, she. And that's why we pick the form for er, sie, es ist. The second sie at the bottom of the table means they, so that's a plural pronoun. Now, let's see how we can put these two sentences together, these two clauses. So, to connect the clauses, we want to use a conjunction. In this case, weil, which means because we're giving a reason. So theoretically, we just have to say Lara isst ein Stück Kuchen, and then connect this clause with the word weil to the next clause, right? Just like in English, Lara eats a piece of cake because she is hungry. However, if we do that in German, that's wrong. And the reason why that's wrong is because there is a rule for subordinate clauses. In a subordinate clause, the verbs are at the end. So let's take a look again. What are the verbs here? Lara isst ein Stück Kuchen. Isst, meaning eats, is the verb, the action word. And then in the second clause, sie hat Hunger. Hat comes from haben, which is to have. So that is the action verb in this second clause. Now let's remember the first clause is the main clause. This is the main action, she's eating the piece of cake. And the second clause only provides further information. How, when, why, where. In this case, the extra information is why does she do that? So sie hat Hunger is the subordinate clause, and in the subordinate clause, the verb must go to the end. Now, obviously, it only becomes a subordinate clause once we put these two clauses together. So, can you guess what the correct version would be? Here it is. Lara isst ein Stück Kuchen, weil sie Hunger hat. So the first clause, the main clause, still stays exactly the way it was, and then the second clause, weil sie Hunger hat, is the subordinate clause, and the verb is at the end. I hope that was helpful, and I'll probably continue to talk about subordinate clauses in a future video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below.